Hello friends, I'm doing a little bit of a pre-intro before the intro, which is something I hope I never have to do again. But sometimes life requires different things. Anyways, you're about to see my normal grocery haul with this lighting setup, but I had forgotten to turn it on while I was doing all of my recording almost. Like 90% for the video. I was just using my overhead fluorescent light, and I find it to be very unflattering on camera. In fact, I've re-recorded before just so that I'd have the footage with the right lighting. I don't have the time or the energy to re-record, so I just wanted to tell you guys that I am a bit self-conscious because it makes me look like 10 years older, for realsies. But it was either, share anyways, or not have a video at all. Very low energy right now. And if you manage to stay awake till the very end of the video, you'll find out why. So I'm not re-recording the whole thing. I'm just not. And I wanted you to have this intro, and I wanted to have this intro for like the new people who pop along, even though we don't mean to. Some people make snap judgments based on looks, and I'm not a looker as it is. So when you add bad lighting, it's yick. But also, I think maybe it's a good opportunity to say we're all human. Things happen. And that's all your time I'm going to take up. You're going to learn about the steak and stuff like that, because that's what I do. I make odd videos about food. Anyways, thanks for watching the pre-intro. Now on to the proper start. Hello, Internet. This is Whispering Whim, bringing you yet another grocery haul today. Now this one is going to be a little on the small side, but there will be plenty of stories to tell because I've had a very eventful week. So to get the story of why it's only half a haul out of the way, I did this grocery shopping trip a week ago. Like a full week ago? Like a week and 2 days ago. And it would have been nice and large because it was my Thanksgiving grocery haul. So I don't do the turkey or anything like that, but I have my classic mac and cheese. There's fun drinks, some booze. But I've been going off of a medication that was making me very drowsy and sleepy. And I got the grocery shopping done. I managed to power through getting the camera set up and all of that garbage, right? And I just puttered out. I lost all energy right as I started recording. And I did the first take, 16, 20, 25 times. I'm not sure. And it normally only takes me like 2 tries to get this whole thing started, right? So I had to just give up. Sometimes you have to know your limits, right? And so I actually saved everything I knew I wasn't going to use for Thanksgiving with the hope that somehow I would make a video before the end of the month. And I am randomly going to be able to, but that is another story. We're going to move along to the food for a moment. And first up, we have some good old Cheez-Its, the extra toasty flavor, because that's mine. And this one says cheddar jack, so I don't know if that's different from their regular plain toasties or if they're branching out. And I'm not even sure if I could tell the difference. I didn't see the other kind in the store when I was looking, because a taste test type thing is something I would definitely do. But I couldn't find one, so I'm kind of thinking maybe they're just rebranding their extra toasties as cheddar jack flavor. Give it a little more pizzazz or something. Next up, we've got some bean with bacon soup, because you can never go wrong with having more soup in the house. I seem to go through every can during the winter time. And then following that, we've got some Deluxe cheese mac and cheese, original cheddar flavor. I had a hankering for mac and cheese, and I think this was in the last video, I'm pretty sure. But I tried the Deluxe, and like the sauce is in a foil packet instead of the powder. And what I like about that is it blends a lot nicer, right? And I'm guilty as everybody else to falling for marketing ploys, right? If you call something Deluxe, I'm gonna think it's better, or like be suspicious of it and try it and be like, yeah, I do like that. And I don't care who you are. You could be the smartest person in the world. Everybody falls for those kinds of marketing ploys, right? But that's human nature. Next up, we've got some Newtons, but they're not big Newtons. They're strawberry Newtons. Those of you who have known me for long enough know that that is a bit of a point of contention between me and my guy, because he only eats the strawberry flavor, and I kind of like the fig one, you know? Next up, we've got some crunchy cans, yeah? And there is this habanero barbecue. Are they peanuts? No, they're almonds. And you know my guy, he loves spice. Jalapeno is kind of his favorite for flavor, and the Carolina Reaper pepper for heat. You know, he likes a range, he likes flavor. So anyways, I got these because they had a habanero on it. Now, habaneros are pretty hot. They're hotter than jalapenos, at the very least. And I so bravely tried one, and these are not that hot at all. Like, they're just not as sweet as a regular barbecue flavor, but I don't find them to be hot. And it's kind of my new nut flavor. So if I like it that much, it's not hot enough for my guy, but that's okay. More for me. And it says right there, 6 grams of protein per serving, which is, now I'm curious, 1 ounce. So 1/6 of the container is a serving. So don't eat more than 1 handful of nuts at a time. Some good old diced stewed tomatoes. I've got a few cans of these. I like to make tomato-based soups. Oh, that brings me to one of the sad stories for this past week. I bought these before this event happened, but I went to an ENT. You might be able to hear I have a bit of an extra rasp to my voice this particular episode. And if it wasn't like the last or next to last day of the month, I might try to wait a little longer. But basically, I've been having some vocal troubles off and on. I take a voice class. I'm not a professional or anything. I just do it for fun. And singing has gotten harder instead of easier. And so I went in for vocal fatigue and found out that I have basically acid reflux, and it's going up in there and irritating all my vocal cords. So that leads to more raspiness, and it also leads to your vocal cords straining and kind of training themselves to do the wrong thing, like not the most healthy thing for them. So in my case, something called the hyoid bone, it's turning, and it normally just kind of turns a little bit like this to help press the vocal folds together. But I have a few little tiny irritation bumps at the top there. So when it presses even harder to try to close the gap at the top. So that leads to a couple of things. Raspy days, like this one, and days where it actually takes me more air to talk. So we're gonna get that fixed eventually, but I have a lot of other things to fix first. Anyways, back to the okay. So these were kidney beans that I was moving around. But back to the tomatoes. The throat doctor basically is like, so you have a stomach disease, and we've got to cure that first. And we don't do that here. We're the ears, nose, throat people. But I'll give you a list of foods you should stop eating. Because they sort of encourage acid reflux. And tomatoes was on that list. And I love tomatoes. I put them in many things, even though my guy kind of doesn't like tomatoes. It's one of the few ingredients I buy in spite of him instead of him, right? So I'm supposed to cut out tomatoes, potatoes, anything from the nightshade family, caffeine, but honestly, I've been off coffee and tea for so long that doesn't matter too much. But also citrus, and I love citrus, pineapple, mandarin oranges, and even like, what are other citrus things? Well, like acidic things. I'm blanking on another example, but I'm ready to move on anyways. I think you might be too. Our next food item is some good old Granny Smith apples. For his lunches, my guy loves apples, and the Granny Smith variety is his favorite. Although he'll eat all of them pretty much. I don't buy. Come on, sit. Yes, do that. I don't buy Red Delicious just because they're so mealy, right? And you know, that's actually the consumer's fault, kind of. Red Delicious became mealy because the farmers kept breeding for both color over flavor and shippability over flavor. And what you end up with is a Red Delicious. And despite all of that, there's still people who see that bright red apple and they're like, yes, that's what I want. And maybe you like the grainy texture. I don't personally, but some people do. Anyway, I have one banana. It is pretty close to going off. It's pretty close to going out. This is about as ripe as I like them. After this, they're too like sweet and slimy for me personally. And there was originally two, so it would have worked on my banana hook. Would it? Oh. We're gonna time, see how long it takes it to fall. But anyways, the second banana was one of the things I had before Thanksgiving. So there's the story there. Following that is the citrus example I couldn't think of. I really enjoy grapefruits. And I bought 2 of them before my visit with the ENT. So of course I'm going to eat them. I mean, what are you going to do? Throw them away? My guy doesn't eat grapefruit. He tries. He doesn't mind the flavor, but he can't stand the removing them. He just doesn't get it and squirts himself in the eyeballs. And then we have another forbidden item, some red pepper and tomato soup. That one, because it has the red pepper, might not be as acidic as plain old tomato. I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to eat it anyways, right? And then finishing out this bag is a bag of pistachios. Good old pistachios. I know you can get them deshelled, but I honestly prefer them in the shell because it becomes an activity as well as a food at that point, right? And when you can add something that sort of slows you down while you're eating, it'll help you eat less. Not that that's really been a problem as much for me lately. I'm down like 4 pounds since last month, so yay me. But you know, it never hurts to keep up with portion control. Next up, we have another fun story about the week in between the grocery trip and the video making, or the second attempt at making a video. I went to, here, I'll unfold it for you. Dun, dun, dun. Party City. And I had a really unique reason for doing that. My husband has gotten into playing poker. And he really only likes playing with like friends and family. He doesn't like going to the casinos or anything like that. So this year he wanted to do a poker tournament with his family Thanksgiving weekend. He's actually off doing that right now. I'm missing out on the poker tournament. And that's a story I'll save for the end of the video. Because I have yet another story about that weekend. And now we're on to our last dry goods bag. And this one has a story involved, because this would not be a place I would normally go for a grocery haul, right? If somehow you can't read that, is Party City. And if they're not local to you, it's, as the name sounds, a party supply store. I was there for a little tiny plastic trophy. More on that in a minute. But in the candy goods section, I ran across these little fruit jellies that are actually shaped like little fruits. And I had been doing so much preparing and shopping for Thanksgiving that I decided I deserved jelly blasters. Yes, jelly blasters. 9 pieces. And I've been wanting to try them for over a week now. I finally get to. I really wanted to save them for the video if it happened, though. So the next story is the reason why I was at Party City. My guy has been growing an interest in playing poker, specifically Texas Hold'em. He doesn't like any of the other styles. But he only really wants to play with people that he knows. And he does get opportunities here and there, but he decided to add a poker tournament to the family weekend. And yes, I mean weekend. His family is so extra about Thanksgiving. It's weird. A lot of fun, but weird. The event, so to speak, starts at Wednesday in a little mountain town. They have a whole building they rent out. It was an old historical hospital of some sort, and now it's an art retreat. And they get to rent it out for Thanksgiving every year. It starts on Wednesday and doesn't end until Saturday. So it's an overnight thing where there's food, drinking, games, football watching. There's like a room that has a little pull-down screen so they can have like a movie theater kind of situation for the big game. It's a bit extra. So my guy decided he was going to try to start a poker tournament. And he wanted to get a tiny trophy, and he, like a month ago looked on Amazon and is like, oh, maybe that one or maybe that one. And the guy never bought anything. I mean, he had the important stuff. He had the poker chips and the cards and all that, but he didn't have a little tiny trophy, and he really wanted a little tiny trophy. So it's like 3 days before actual turkey day, and therefore only 2 days before we were going to be up in this little mountain town. And he's looking on Amazon, and I'm like, honey, even with 2-day shipping, it's gonna come at like the afternoon, maybe 5 o'clock on Wednesday, and you're gonna want to be up there already. And he's like, I know. And so I was like, you know what? Oddly enough, I am fairly certain the party store will have tiny trophies. I'll go find you one. And I did. Anyways, we have the tiny trophy, and he wants some lettering on it. It actually has like a flat spot in the front where you could add like a sticker or something. And I'm like, fine, I'll work on that too. I only have 1 million projects to do this week, but I'll do that too. And so I put winner in larger text. First, insert family name, poker tournament. First annual. And I showed him, and he's like, oh, isn't that a bit presumptuous? And I'm like, no, you want this to be a thing that happens every year, right? And he's like, yeah, but I don't know that it'll happen again, right? I have been recording this whole time with the wrong lighting. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, I just realized that the lighting is terrible and I don't have the energy to re-record this. Oh, okay. That's all right. That's all right. We're gonna just forge ahead. So back to the story. I was like, babe, this is a little fun novelty tournament cup. No one is gonna sit there and whatchamacallit, pull it out on year 2 because you didn't have this tournament and be like, I have the only one. Like, no one's going to do that. Put the vibe out there that you're gonna have one next year, and if you don't, you don't, but you're honestly thinking way too hard about this. So next up is our cooler items. There's not a lot here because, there'd be spoilage if I got 5 weeks worth of vegetables at the same time, right? And most of the fun ones were for the extravagant Thanksgiving weekend. But we got a few little goodies. And this first one truly is a goodie. It is a pre-made boba tea. I discovered these recently. I'm not sure if they made it into the video or if they were a side haul that I didn't record. They are the popping boba, which you can't really see it in this lighting. I should have saved one of the other flavor. I took the more clear ones to the Turkey Day celebration. But anyways, it has little tiny pearls in there that you can squish, and there's juice inside. It's fun. I like boba, and I don't mind popping boba, but I do like the classic taro root boba a bit better, to be honest. So this was just a fun thing to drink, but I did mention that I had bought them once before, and I saved one and gave it to my husband for a lunch, I believe. So I wasn't around to see him eat it. Well, the next day I'm going through the dishes and I notice a random straw. Like a tall one for one of the water cups. I was like, what is this? Why is there only a straw? And it turns out he didn't notice that there's a straw in the package. It pops out it's like an applicator. Us girls know what that means. But it slides out and becomes a larger straw, and it just snaps together. And then you poke it through the top and you drink like normal. I can be a bit mean sometimes. I fished the container out of the top of the trash. It was on the top. There wasn't any gross stuff on it. And I was like, babe, if I ever give you one of these again, and I peeled it up. Oh, well, when I did it in the first time, it was much more dramatic than that. There we go. I was like, this is the straw. He had used a straw that was too tiny. He couldn't suck up the beads. I was like, then don't even drink it with a straw at that point. But since I've already torn this open, and I'm very confident I'm going to drink it tonight, that's all you gotta do. Fabulous, right? It's great. And he just didn't know. Well, he didn't notice because it's a little flush with the packaging, and I get that, but come on now. And then we have some good old classic baby carrots. Carrots stay in the fridge good for a fairly long time. And these ones are baby carrots, so they won't stay good quite as long as their adult familia. But that's okay. They'll survive the Thanksgiving weekend. They already have. A little bit of kombucha. I've been trying to add probiotics into my diet, but I find that I just don't like them. I don't like them as much. Like, I like yogurt, but I'm not like an everyday yogurt drinker person, right? Drinker person. Oh my gosh. And then we have some mushroom ravioli for a nice quick dinner one of these nights. And then speaking of yogurt, we've got yogurt, but we've got it. Mike is so cute sometimes. For some random reason, his work gave him a mini fridge to put in his office, right? And he's telling me about this, and he's like, you know, kind of swaying, like he wants to say more, kind of like a little boy trying to ask his mom for money for the ice cream truck, right? Like, it was really like that. I turned to him, I was like, do you want things to put in your mini cooler? Hopefully that laugh wasn't too loud. And he's like, well, if you could. I was like, yes, what do you want? He's like, I don't know. Looking at me, and I was like, bottles of water? And he's like, well, what about seltzer water? And I'm like, yes, I can buy you a box of seltzer water. What else would you like? He's like, I don't know. And I'm like, something for breakfast when you get hungry? And he's like, yeah. Don't make this into a guessing game. Just tell me what you want. So anyways, he has yogurt and waters. The waters are already gone. For his new mini fridge that he is a proud owner of. And there's 2 flavors here. It's obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but usually cheaper to buy the ones in the packaging. And this is a flavor I'm sure he'll love. It's the Chobani Flip Almond Cocoa Loco. It has honey roasted salted almonds, dark chocolate, and low-fat Greek yogurt. I don't know why I made that awkward. With coconut. And this flavor I think he'll like bestest, but it wasn't in a big box, so he only got one. But this is just a mint chocolate chip flavor from the same brand. And then last but not least, I'm actually surprised these are a pile of goo. This is some sugar peas, and they don't usually hold up in the refrigerator very well, but they seem to be fine. I meant to cook them for a dinner that was right before we left for Thanksgiving extravaganza, and I just didn't get to it, and I was like, oh no, I'm gonna pull those out in a week, and they're just gonna be gross. But they're not gross, so I know what I'm cooking tomorrow. Now, it's probably a bit too late to really matter, but I am, for our freezer items, going to switch to the other lighting. I'm not going to change my makeup or my hair or anything like that. It's amazing what good lighting does. So, be right back. And voila, we're back with the proper lighting. The sad thing is I actually already had these guys plugged in and ready for the video. They've been here the whole time, just not turned on. But knowing most of my friends, you guys are going to give me such kindness and forgiveness for this little flaw, and I am not going to re-record all that video, considering it would be the 3rd time I've re-recorded this video. But it's amazing what a lighting difference can do, right? You know, people talk about like Photoshop and the little apps and stuff, but just getting light from the right direction makes such an improvement. Anyways, I think you'll give me grace. I have one final story, but I will say it after our very, very limited freezer haul. First up, we have a packet of chicken. There was a deal. You can see that right there on the package, right? So pick 5 or more for $5 each. And sometimes that's a really good deal. And in some of the items it's not. I think they make their profit not so much from selling the meat itself, but it's probably what the industry would call a loss leader. The most famous example of a loss leader is the Costco chicken, rotisserie chicken. They consistently, year after year, sell that for less than what it takes them to make it. And they do that because they figure once you're in the door, you're gonna buy more, right? And it's usually true. So some of these meats are, a pretty good buy. They have this originally marked for $8.99. It is a whole pound of petite sirloin, and I got it for $5 whole. $5 whole, make it holla. I don't know why I'm rhyming now. I think I'm getting tired. In fact, I know I'm getting tired. And then I have this big old package of cube steak. And according to this particular store, you can buy it cheaper elsewhere. This was originally a $10.46 item. I got it for $5. And then last but not least, it wouldn't be a proper video without something jalapeno, right? I can't think of a video that didn't have jalapeno in some form or another. But these are some jalapeno cheddar bagels. And whenever I see them in the store, I just buy them because they sell out really quickly, actually. They are really the best. This store brand jalapeno, the jalapeno is genuinely hot where there is jalapeno. That's not jalapeno. Ooh, jalapeno. That might be a new tongue twister. But it is not jalapeno flavored like in the dough. There's just jalapenos on it. But they do have their own heat to them. The cheese is nice, but it has the best spongy flavor. And I don't know why, because there are other flavors, like if you get raisin cinnamon or everything bagel, right? They're like more stereotypical packaged bagels, but these are like spongy and soft, and they're so wonderful. I buy them and I freeze them and eat them as necessary. And now we're on to our final story. And just to add a bit more levity and sound interest, I'm going to go ahead and open up one of these sensory toys. I bought a lot of these a while back for video making, and I did do a video with them exclusively, I think, at one point. But the toys themselves weren't interesting enough to keep making content off of, and honestly cost me a lot of money. I mean, not individually, it was like $2-3, but you gotta have more than one in a video, right? And I'm not a rich person. Definitely not. Anyways, that's not the real story. That's just a side story as to why I have these random toys that pop up every once in a while at the end of videos. So I had a hard time making the grocery haul right before Thanksgiving. I was fatigued because I was going off some medications. I've been having lots and lots of different health things going on. And I don't say that for you to feel bad about me. It's just context, okay? I'm still living my best life. I just have to navigate a few extra rocks in the terrain, right? It's all good. So I couldn't finish the video. I was very upset about it. And I was looking at my calendar and all the things I needed to do. We were going to be gone for Thanksgiving weekend for 4 days. And, all the different classes that I teach and obligations I have, like taking care of my grandfather on Wednesdays. And I just looked at that and I was like, I'm going to have to miss November. There's no way I can fit this in. I'm going to save some of this stuff and see what happens. You never know. But there's no way. There's no way I'm going to be able to make this video, right? I'm proving fate wrong, or myself wrong, actually. Fate is proving me wrong. So we're up there in the family house. There's about, I'd say on Wednesday, there's about 30 of us there. And then it bumps up to 50 on the actual turkey day, Thanksgiving. It's a huge event. For that family, it's the premier event of the year, I'm telling you. And I'm not feeling well. So I go to sleep early on Wednesday. And I wake up on Thursday sick. Just plain sick. And by the middle of Thursday, I'm shaking and I have hives. And so by dinner time, Thanksgiving Day, I basically have to tell my guy, I'm not okay. I tried to sleep it off all day long, and that did not work. I got admitted to the urgent care instantly. Like when they triaged me, they just took me straight back. Turns out I'm allergic to something. What that something is, I don't know. Luckily, we caught it before any breathing troubles. I had hives and nausea and things like that. But we were up in a mountain town, right? They don't have urgent cares there. So 2 of my family members, well, basically my guy and his sister-in-law, or my sister-in-law, yeah, spent 5 hours at the ER with me for me to get better. And then we drove back home because home was closer than the resort that we were staying at. And we stayed the night. And that big old poker tournament was scheduled for the following day. And my guy is like, I can't leave you behind. I can't leave you behind. And I was like, yeah, you can. I'll be fine. The emergency room did a really good job. I was starting to heal. And by this morning, most of the hives were gone. There's still a few spots. Like, I don't know if you can see it, a couple. But it was down all my arm and everywhere. So I convinced him to go up, and he got to do his poker tournament. And the prescriptions that we got in the morning kind of kicked in, and I feel a little better, right? And I was like, no one's home. I might have the energy to do a video right now, and it'll be presented on the month that it's supposed to represent, and that's going to be amazing. And so for me, this is kind of exciting. Like, I'm trying to silver line all the little things, right? But the medications that I got that are helping, do leave a little bit of brain fog. So yeah, I forgot the lights. That's the story of why I forgot the lights. And I know you guys are gonna love me anyways for it. Some of you will love me even more for it. But we got there, and I'm gonna go see another specialist. I get to see lots of those lately. But I got to learn that I had a problem in a situation where I had abundant help, time, and honestly, the basic resources like insurance to just say, you know what, I'm going to go find out what's wrong and fix it. So I guess what I'm saying is that I think we are all going through things. And, if you need help, get help. But also remember that there might be something that can come of that situation, whether it's teaching someone else a lesson or getting to make my silly little YouTube video, right? Usually you can find something. So back to the lame toy. That's where we're headed now because my story's done. These ones are there's 2 different types. There's the bar ones and there's the egg ones. And for some reason the egg ones are so much more interesting than the bar ones. So we have this fidget toy that and now you can see why I made one video with these and just kind of saved them now for filler. Because that's not very interesting. That is the dramatic reveal of the day. And I love shout out time because it is a chance to celebrate the fact that you and I, you know, however many states, oceans, who knows, universes apart we are, we got to share something. It's easy for some people, I think, when you're doing an internet video to just talk to the void. But I really see friends. I see people who, you know, try to send me supportive memes on Instagram, which I haven't looked at. I haven't even opened the app in like a week. I'm sorry. But I'm pretty sure I know there's some in there. It's people who didn't bother or you know, make me feel bad for little mistakes. And people who take the time to comment. So that's what we're celebrating. So with that, shout out to Sharon Nelson, PV3201, Max, also Apple Tree, yes I remember, Celiotics, Straby Maybe, PJL, is that an L or an I? Might be either. I hate this font. 2963, Dulce Crystal, Allison Hamblin, and Sharon Hermit. Those are, I could keep going actually. I got quite a few supportive comments lately. So you guys are great and thank you. And I will see you guys hopefully slightly earlier in the month next month. Bye bye.